Hello, I'm the Animation Critic. The name says it all. Let's talk about Shrek. How the hell did this guy bring in so much dough? Originating from what was originally a B-list studio struggling to compete with Disney, Shrek became a massive success, spawning 4 films that grossed nearly $3 billion altogether and dozens of related merchandise. The question I ask today is, how was that all possible? Well, ladies and gentlemen, as everybody knows, every great series starts off with a great first film, or book, whatever it is. Is Shrek an example? Let's find out today. Released on May 18th, 2001, the movie is, well, Shrek. The movie starts out with none other than that classic storyboard opening. You could say that they were ripping off Disney, but that's pretty much the whole purpose of this film.
Yeah, like that's ever gonna happen. What a load of...
We are then introduced to our title character, voiced by Mike Myers. Fun fact, Myers recorded his lines for the role twice because midway in production, Myers decided that his character should have a Scottish accent instead of, well, whatever he had before. Anyway, Shrek lives a happy life as an ogre, which mostly consists of being as disgusting as possible and scaring the crap out of local villagers. All of that changes place, however, when the nearby kingdom of Duloc passes a decree outlawing all Disney characters, fairy tale creatures. One of which is a donkey named, well, Donkey, played by Eddie Murphy. How I went from a cool fire-breathing dragon to an ass, the world will never know. Donkey manages to escape and come across Shrek, and after he manages to scare off the guards, Donkey quickly establishes himself as Shrek's best friend, much to his annoyance.
Why are you following me?
I'll tell you why. 'Cause I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. My problems have all gone. There's no one to deride me. But you gotta have friends.
Stop singing!
Hey, just be happy he's not a rapping dog. Reluctantly, Shrek allows Donkey to spend the night in his swamp. But to make matters worse, Shrek later finds his swamp infested with the outlawed Disney, fairy tale creatures.
What are you doing in my swamp?
I'm not sure, Shrek, but I think Dopey's taking a piss over there. Shrek learns that his swamp is the location where Lord Farquaad, Duloc's ruler, has sent the Disney, fairy tale creatures to live. Angered, Shrek takes Donkey, reluctantly, to confront Farquaad, who we are then introduced to seconds later. Calling him Your Highness would be an overstatement. So this is Lord Farquaad, and I don't really see it, but he's supposed to be a caricature of Michael Eisner. If you don't understand, don't ask. It's a long story. During a talk with the gingerbread man, we learn that Farquaad is trying to create the perfect kingdom, and sees the Disney, fairy tale creatures as threats and wishes for their extermination. Gee, does that sound familiar? A minute later, Farquaad's gods bring him the magic mirror, who tell Farquaad that his kingdom will reach perfection once he marries a princess and is crowned king. Of the 3 choices given, Farquaad picks Fiona, voiced by Cameron Diaz. Good choice, the other 2 are already married. It turns out that the princess is held hostage in a castle by a fire-breathing giant, like any princess, and so Farquaad decides to hold a tournament and decide who saves Fiona. Meanwhile, Shrek and Donkey arrive in Disneyland, the Kingdom of Duloc, which is surprisingly vacant. Gee, why can't the real Disneyland have this many people?
Hey, look at this!
Welcome to Duloc, such a perfect town. Here we have some rules, let us lay them
I need to consult the book. Yes, let's see. It comes right out of nowhere. Yeah. Little to nothing to do with the story. Yeah. Over the plot in terms of ridiculousness. Yeah. Comes right. Nobody ever mentions it again. Aha! It's a big-lipped alligator, Mama.
Big-lipped alligator moment.
So, after whatever the hell that was, Shrek and Donkey make to the stadium where Farquaad is holding his tournament. Upon his arrival, Farquaad changes the game plan, deciding whoever kills Shrek will be able to rescue Fiona. But after a long and tiring battle, Shrek and Donkey manage to defeat all the knights, much to the impression of Farquaad. Instead of having Shrek killed, Farquaad bargains with him, offering to remove all the Disney, fairy tale creatures if he goes on his quest. Okay, am I the only one that finds it ironic that a guy that lives in a place that's supposed to parody Disneyland is trying to remove all the characters that are supposed to represent Disney characters? Isn't it a little ironic? Then again, the guy is supposed to character Michael Eisner, so I guess it makes sense. And so Shrek go on their epic journey and finally arrive at the castle where Fiona is kept. After troubles crossing a bridge over fiery lava, the two make their way inside and eventually come across the...
Where's the
Dragon!
So Shrek makes it to where Fiona is held, awakens her, and tries to make a quick escape, despite Fiona's hopes to treasure the moment. Meanwhile, we learn that the dragon holding Donkey hostage is in fact female and, for some reason, has a crush on Donkey. Okay, you figure that one out, guys. But before she can manage to kick Shrek's ass, she ends up kissing Shrek's ass. Enraged, she chases our three main characters out of the castle, who manage to escape its clutches by having it changed. But the adventure is far from over, as Shrek must deliver Fiona to Farquaad immediately. Fiona, however, believes Shrek is her true love, an idea quickly rejected when he removes his helmet to reveal his identity.
You're an ogre.
Oh, you were expecting Prince Charming?
Well, yes, actually.
For now, yes, but if had Shrek not released her, oh boy, she would have regretted it. Because little does she know that Prince Charming is really an ambiguously gay narcissist. So, as Shrek and Fiona and Donkey travel back to Duloc, we learn that Fiona isn't exactly your typical princess.
I need to find somewhere to camp now!
Whoa, calm down. I mean, it's not like you've been locked in a tower your whole... Never mind. So while Fiona supposedly sleeps, Shrek and Donkey chat about why Shrek is such a grump, revealing how he's been discriminated all his life, judged by what he is instead of who he is. Fiona overhears the conversation and feels sympathetic, and hopes to make amends with Shrek. The next morning, while Donkey and Shrek still sleep, Fiona shows off one of her unusual talents. Okay, that's gonna scare a couple 4-year-olds. Later, as our heroes continue their quest, we come across this guy. Through a catchy yet awkward musical number, Mengerhood, as he calls himself, explains his intention of saving Fiona by killing Shrek. But before he can do such...
I'm about to start!
Man, that was annoying.
Oh, you little... Okay, what is wrong with this person? I mean, her
Her demandingness, yeah, I can understand. But look, if by making birds explode and beating the crap out of people isn't exactly your typical princess personality traits. Anyway, as the three continue their adventure, we begin to feel that Shrek and Fiona are beginning to fall in love. But when the two begin to kiss, Fiona learns that it's sunset and hides herself in a nearby windmill. Curious as always, Donkey tries to find Fiona, but ends up finding...
Shrek! Shrek!
No,
Shrek!
it's okay, it's okay.
What did you do with the princess?
Donkey, shh, I'm the princess.
Ah!
It's me.
Well, that certainly explains a lot. We then learn that Fiona was cursed as a little girl to turn into an ogre every night, and was placed in the Dragon's Keep hoping her true love would break the curse. Shrek, meanwhile, overhears the discussion and thinking Fiona is saying bad things about him, gets upset. The next morning, Lord Farquaad appears to meet Fiona and propose to her. Despite her feelings for Shrek, she accepts, and pleads to be married before today's sunset, so that her curse may be lifted. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Farquaad and Fiona are gonna get married, and Shrek has his swamp back. You'd think that's the end of the movie, right? Wrong! Even though Shrek and Fiona are supposed to be happy, their loneliness for each other takes away all their joy, as shown through the montage with the song Hallelujah. Meanwhile, Donkey tries to persuade Shrek to admit his love for Fiona, but he refuses, because he believes she badmouthed him. But he changes his mind when Donkey reveals that Fiona wasn't talking about him, and so two set out to crash the wedding. How, you may ask? Oh yeah, see the dragon? She's apparently a good guy now. How'd she escape her change? I don't know, they never explain. Luckily, Shrek manages to crash the wedding on time to admit his feelings for Fiona, which causes everybody except her to laugh hysterically. Seconds later, the sun sets and Fiona reveals her ogre self to everybody.
Well, that explains a lot.
Sorry, Shrek, but I already beat you to the punch. Furious, Farquaad proceeds to have Shrek and Fiona captured and locked up. But before that can happen, the film's Deus Ex Machina literally breaks into the castle and eats Farquaad whole. Shrek and Fiona then finally share their long-awaited kiss. This finally ends Fiona's curse, even though she's still an ogre. But they don't care, because they're in love. And so the two lovers wed in Shrek's swamp, and everybody lived happily ever after. Or at least until the sequel. So there you have it, Shrek. Now, considering that this is the first animated film to receive the Best Animated Feature Oscar, you'd think I would enjoy this film. And I did. Now, I do have one major complaint about this movie. It seemed to be made entirely just to badmouth Disney, as shown through its many parodies. I understand the issues Jeffrey Katzenberg has had with the Walt Disney Company, and I wouldn't mind if they only did it here and there, but it feels like they do it throughout the entire movie. And it really annoys me, especially considering how great of a company Disney is. Besides that, Shrek is a really good film. The story is well thought out, the characters are developed heavily, and the computer animation is pretty groundbreaking for its time. If you want a kids movie that will be able to entertain adults just as much, then I'd recommend this film. So I'll give this film a rating of 4 stars out of 5. So there you have it, the movie that almost killed Disney. But did it really? Can Disney make their way back to the top? Will streamers be able to figure out how to boost their business? Well, so Shrek is now over. And what will my next week's countdown will be? All those adventures will eventually be revealed in time. Until then, I'm the Animation Critic. The name says it all.